Hello, everybody. Thanks for making it up so early. Buenos dias. I'm going to speak to English. I think it's better for most of us. I'm very happy to be here. It's my 6th year at South Summit. Of course, it's a 10th year anniversary, so to make it special. First, quick show of hands. How many of you know Auric in the room? None of you know Auric. Fantastic. So we're starting from scratch. That's amazing. All right, so I'm going to go through a few different slides. This is way too many slides for our presentation this morning, so I'm going to try to go through a couple. But the message is key, and what's behind this particular presentation is more than just a series of slides. I think there's a key message here. We are one of the biggest tech law firm in Europe, actually the biggest tech law firm in Europe, and we're covering a massive amount of deals. That gives us access to a pretty large overview of the entire market. And the reason I'm here today is to give you a view on the report that we publish every year. And that report goes through the extensive level of terms that every single one of the entrepreneurs that sign a term sheet are supposed to look into. And so that's a good overview, inside view of how, over the last few years, the actual market is getting better for entrepreneurs and not necessarily for investors. So here's the slides. Green button, right? All right, let me see. Is there a press button somewhere? There you go. Okay. So, Auric briefly. We are one of the biggest tech law firm in the world. We have about 1,000 more lawyers across 25 countries. As you can see, we're in many, many different regions. We're not in Spain, though. I think we need to correct that because we haven't been in Spain. We do a lot of deals in Spain. We're not based in Spain yet. And what it means is we are very much global, but also we touch on so many different topics. I don't know if many of you have touched on legal topics. Well, I suppose the minute you start a business, you need to understand the limitation, the benefits you can get. So we touch on pretty much everything. So we help entrepreneurs across different things, from regulatory advice, employment compliance, to compensation, benefits, merger, acquisition, you name it, all the scope. So we're a multi-service firm. What does it mean? It means that when you come to us, well, we can help you for anything. But also do the entire stack of support. So that also means that we do from startups to public company. We do seed to IPO. So it's a global firm and it's a global stage. That's phenomenal because you can see some of those names. It allows us to have a magic view over the entire spectrum and entire sort of life cycle of the ecosystem. I'm going to skip that. It's all it's like I feel like I'm raising all the great numbers that we have and stuff. But basically, we're big, right? All right. And big, how big? Well, we've done north of 1,000 venture deals last year in 2021, representing about $62 billion overall. So, massive amount, and 52 different countries. So again, it's a great opportunity for us to look globally in an exhaustive way at the market. But the reason, we do this is because we're really problem solvers. We are. And as you can see on the right, you probably can't read anything because it's too small anyway. But on the right side, we talk about the comprehensive support that we give, access to all the stages, and the fact that we're nimble and scalable. Because we might be big, but at the end of the day, it's one or two partners working with one or two entrepreneurs. And so it's really about dedicated support. Some of the transactions below, we don't shy away from a $1 billion transaction in itself, so it's big. But we also do a lot, as I said, obviously a lot of unicorns, right? Passing on doesn't matter. But we also do a lot in Spain. As you can see on the bottom right, those are some of the experience that we've had in Spain from Payflow to Hubook to Everseen and a couple of others. So we love Europe. We're very much European by work, even though it's an American firm originally. And what I wanted to just briefly show you today is that report that we publish every year. Now, this is available online for anyone. It's completely free. You just actually Google, Auric Dealflow 2.0, and you'll find it instantly. You can download the PDF. You got tons of information in there, way more than what we're going to be covering today, obviously. So feel free to download it and have a look, or drop me an email and ask if you have any questions. But the bottom line is, this is an amazing opportunity for you to look in depth at what happens when you're on the other side of the table as an entrepreneur. Last year was, as all of you know, I'm sure, was an incredible year, like a record-breaking year in terms of financing transaction level. More than $100 billion dollars got invested in the European tech ecosystem, which was by far much bigger than we've ever seen so far. Now, we'll talk about 2022, what's coming, which clearly might be balanced out. But for now, this year's was more than triple the size of any investment we've seen before. Second thing is, we've analyzed about 500 more venture capital on this particular study, and we are basically covering 20% of the entire market. So again, a lot of things that we've done. This is basically where we're standing. And if you look at what we do, we do more than 2 times the amount of deals that any of our other competitors do. So we got that view. And so we do that report every year. On the side, we also do the State of European Tech. How many of you know that report, State of European Tech? You don't know that report? Come on, guys. I mean, this is big. We do that with Atomico. We launch that as Slush every year. This is the extensive research view on the entire state of the European tech. So download it as well. It's available online. It's really big, and you have all the different interesting topics you can imagine around the European tech. What our report does is more in-depth studies on what it is that we do during the signature of the term sheets and what kind of deals the actual entrepreneurs get. Now, if you get into the highlights, we've had a year of uncertainty because of COVID still, right? And so you can see that we've had a lot of teams being decentralized across different European sort of countries. People are just naturally now working in different places, even though some are trying to go back to the office now. We've seen a lot of regulatory scrutiny coming back, a lot of people looking into the state to regulate more things. But we do, we see that physical location is getting less important as well. But in terms of competitivity of the deals, it's actually increasing. And so we see that the funders are getting more control over the deals they're making. I'll get into a bit more details later, but that's the key message here. Founders are getting better terms than ever before. On the sectors, we've seen roughly, 1 in 4 deals were done in the fintech sectors, which is not a big surprise, and it mirrors about 159% increase in Europe, which is huge, and much more. And the largest growth in itself is marketplaces, which again shouldn't be surprising you, because that's where the massive scale has been coming. And some good interesting things around energy. And of course, you've all seen this massive amount in take on valuation of the deals in general, right? So we've seen scaling to a unicorn and IPO getting much, much faster, because when you get a Series A of 700 million, like Sorare, well, it doesn't take much to get straight to the next level. What we see is sometimes up to 11 times, the increase of what we've done in 2020. So again, I'm not going to give you numbers. You can see them on the chart, and you can see them on the value straight away out of the report. But it's incredible the amount of increase that we've seen over the last year. And sometimes even during the summer month, which you expect to be lower, actually, a lot of travel lockdown actually made it more than we expected it to be. So, as you can see from the last one, which is interesting as well, almost 20% of our European VC deal were more than $100 million, count in dollars, and almost half of them were more than $250 million. So again, a massive increase in size of deals in general across the board. When you look at the segments, as we said, fintech is number 1. There's a lot in fintech happening right now, and fintech means a lot of things, by the way. It's insurtech and fintech, it's market, it's the actual infrastructure behind it, so it's pretty wide, but it's everything around the financial institutions. Marketplaces are getting good because they're getting more and more digitalized, and of course, again, you should know that, and you've seen that. We see that COVID has massively accelerated this process, so it's being more and more. A lot of what we call planet positive as well deals are being done. Any of you working in sustainability here? Right, 1, 2, okay. So, we've seen about 11% captured around that field, and there's going to be more and more, as we know, because, it's becoming not only necessary, but also more interested on behalf of the investors and the planet in general. So we're going to see more over the next years. And on that particular topic, again, look at the State of European Tech report. We have a special section on that, which is pretty extensive. You'll have a lot of information in there. And last but not least, as I said, a lot of scrutiny around new regulations that are being put in place. And so what is good is when you go to deep tech segments like quantum computing, when you go to AI, all of this are being a little bit more regulated to allow for less cowboys attitude when it comes to working with those technologies. And of course, cybersecurity has been a big threat over the last year because everybody went digital. So there's also a lot of that being to look into. So segments that are increasing. When you look at the stages, look at that Series C. It's impressive. We got 99% increase in deal size on average on Series C and D. which in Europe didn't used to be the case at all. We were very good at early stage. Mid-growth and late stage, not that much, because the capital wasn't there. What's happening over the last 2 years is the capital increase coming from all around the world with the interest of that particular region makes it grow faster. And so, on average, the earlier stage investment were 2.6 times faster, CNB, but Series E, which is even the later stage pre-exit, basically, on the deal value of 3.9 billion, average size $332 million, which means that, as I said before, a massive acceleration towards exit, IPO, or merger and acquisition, M&A. So again, this is an interesting trend because even though it's early to talk about financing in the morning, a lot of companies are going to go faster to exit. Some decline. I'm going to skip that because it's a little bit too detailed for what the time we have left anyway. But just have a look at the report to see this interesting trend of new ways of financing your company, not necessarily through classic VC equity, but also through venture debt and other mechanisms. So there's a lot of that going on in there. You clearly can't see anything on the right side, but those are the actual terms that you see. Two things you need to remember there. As I said, more founder-friendly terms. Right? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. You got more founder-friendly terms in later stage deals, which means that anyone know what anti-dilution is? If you're an entrepreneur, you should know what anti-dilution is. Yes. So basically, there's a lot less anti-dilution, which means that you can actually, invest at will. You got a lot of better deals from the earlier stage, and again, even in Series C, it's moving away from this. You got threshold. You got founder veto. So founder veto is something that's important in earlier stage because that means that the founder can say no to some decision being taken by the board. So there's a lot less at the later stage, but there's more in the early stage. So again, favorable terms, better terms for the entrepreneurs in general than we used to have before. Similar ideas around the board seats. So what's interesting is you get, more founder control at the base. So, future financing and growth strategy means that they can actually do more with the money they have earlier, and that's a good thing as well. So again, as a founder, you want to be able to allocate your resources properly. You want to be able to work properly with what you raise and not being stuck by a board that says, no, this is not the way to do it. So that's, again, going in the right direction. Founders are taking control again. And of course, as a VC, I'm an ex-VC, I do tend to agree that if you lead a little bit of liberty to the founders that you actually trust to do the job, then they actually go further and faster than if you were to be controlling them too much, right? It's like any regulation. It's never too good if it's too strict. But so the bottom line is, and it's pretty much on time because we've got 50 seconds left, it's getting better for founders out there, right? A lot better in terms of deal terms. Of course, 2022 might look very different than 2021 in terms of picture of number of deals, but the fact that you have still a massive amount of dry powder out there, aka massive amount of funds that got raised over the last 2 or 3 years, we're very bullish. We'll still see a lot of investment going through. It might take longer. We'll get a lot less of the crazy 48 hours deal done without even looking at the product thing, which happened a lot last year. But that also means that it's better in terms of future sustainability of some of those companies. So I'm overall very happy that we had a crazy 2022 because it allows us to have an acceleration in digitalization and a better view on the terms that we get over the course of this coming years. So that's it for me. Thank you very much. If you have any questions, please come to us. You got my name. I don't know if you got my email somewhere. No, you don't. But anyway, come to me if you're interested at the end. I'm happy to answer any questions. And if anything, have a very good day in La Nave. Gracias.